Welcome to Mondays with Melissa. Today I want to talk about the top 5 myths regarding Medicaid. The first one is, my parents would have to get divorced in order for my mom to get Medicaid. Now in New York, that is not the case. In New York, we have something called spousal refusal. Many of you may be familiar with that term. What it means is, if a person is in a nursing home and has a spouse in the community, that spouse in the community can have as much money in their name as they want as long as they sign spousal refusal. Medicaid says they can only have a certain amount of money, but if they have more than that, they sign a letter saying they're not making it available for their spouse's care because they need it to live on. By signing that spousal refusal, the spouse in the nursing home can get Medicaid, and people who've been married for 50, 60, 70 years don't have to get divorced in order for the spouse in the nursing home to get the care they need while the spouse in the community is able to survive on the assets that they've worked so hard for. The second myth is, I'll be treated differently if my care is being paid for by Medicaid. The truth is, in a nursing home setting, the people who are caring for our loved ones don't know how the nursing home is being paid. And in a lot of cases, the nursing home might even prefer being paid by Medicaid because the check comes every month like clockwork. So that is definitely not something to be concerned about. The third myth that we hear all the time is my parent has too much money to qualify for Medicaid. While they might have more than they're allowed to, which right now in New York is approximately $31,000, there is so much we can do in the way of planning to be able to protect what they have in excess of that money and get them qualified for Medicaid. Of course, it's going to depend on what type of Medicaid they need and when they need it. In a situation where somebody is sitting with money and they haven't done planning, we can still protect half, even in that crisis situation where they're going into the nursing home tomorrow. So it's always important to reach out to an elder law attorney and ask them, how can I protect some of these assets so that I have extra to pay for what my parent needs outside of what Medicaid covers in the facility? My grandmother was in a nursing home and hated to be alone, and we were lucky that we had some of her money put aside to be able to have an aide stay with her while she was in the nursing home because she was afraid to be by herself. So it's always great to plan and have some of that money tucked away, but even in a crisis situation, we can still help protect some of the assets. The fourth myth is, if I get approved for Medicaid, then I have to drop Medicare and my supplemental health insurance. That is just not true. Medicaid is the payer of last resort. They actually want you to keep your Medicare and your supplemental health insurance, and they allow for the premiums to be paid from your income before you have to use the income for anything else, even paying it over to the nursing home, because they want your other insurances to pay whatever they can before Medicaid has to step in and pay the difference. So you will keep your Medicare, you will keep your supplemental, and then Medicaid would be the third payer or the payer of last resort. And the fifth and final myth that we hear all the time is, mom will have to spend down every penny before she can qualify for Medicaid. And this is similar to the third myth in that we hear a lot of people say, my parents didn't want to do any planning, they didn't want to part with their assets, they didn't want to set up trusts, they weren't comfortable. And I get that, but it's important to know that all is not lost and we can still always protect something. So there will never be a time where a single person has to spend down every penny that they have before they can qualify for Medicaid. Again, it's important to reach out and have the conversation before the money is all spent down, because yes, we can protect some of it. And there are so many myths surrounding Medicaid. Just pick up the phone and give us a call. We offer free consultations. We're happy to go over the rules of Medicaid with you. We've been doing this for a very long time and we actually love doing it. So like, share, and subscribe. Come back and see us again next week.